Hey, this is Jozy 103 with Two Tanks No Aggro, bringing you Jozy's Sim of the Month, a series where I review simulation, city building, and survival games. This month, we're looking at the first release from Overseer Games, Patron. I was really excited about this game when I learned about it. It looked like the closest thing to the 2014 game Banished since, well, Banished. Patron is a city builder and colony sim set in the Middle Ages. It was released on August 10th, 2021. If you skim the reviews for a few seconds, you'll see that most of them agree that the devs have basically taken Banished and improved it. It's not really an issue since the devs are so upfront about it. Before we jump into what the devs have added, let's start with the basics, starting a game. You start by naming your town and choosing a banner. Unfortunately, you aren't able to fully customize the banner, but there are plenty of options to choose from. Next, you choose the map you want to play on. There are 13 different map options that vary in difficulty. You're also able to tweak the settings such as resource density, starting population, difficulty, and more before starting the game. It would have been nice to have a randomized map seed option as well. On the other hand, I'm 21.5 hours in and I've still only played the first map, so maybe the 13 maps included are enough. After you've gotten the game setup out of the way, you can play. You start off with your villagers in a single townhouse. There's a quick tutorial to get you started on the basics such as gathering resources, constructing buildings, and starting research. This game plays like most other city builders, so players experienced in this genre can probably skip the tutorial. The UI is pretty simple and works well. My only two complaints are about the map overlays and building icons. There are 3 different map overlays you can turn on: building grid, soil fertility, and ore richness. These are all extremely helpful. However, you have to scroll through each of them before you can turn them off. It's a small thing, but it can get pretty annoying a few hours in. As for building icons, you can't see the name of what you're going to build unless you hover over it. So unless you memorize where the icon is in the grid, or remember what it looks like, you're going to have to keep hovering until you find the correct icon. Having the building name under the icon, or showing them in a list would have been more helpful. Building, upgrading, and expanding your town is seriously addicting. The grid overlay was super helpful, especially for someone like me who is very particular about building and path placement. Almost every building has at least one upgrade that you can apply to it, but most have 3 or more. These upgrades include worker capacity, production speed, and efficiency. Certain buildings, such as guard towers, schools, and churches, only cover a specific radius. This means you'll have to do some planning around where you want to place these buildings in relation to houses. You'll find various groupings of resources around the map. Each resource has a profession dedicated to harvesting it: foresters for trees, miners for ore and coal, quarrymen for stone, and so on. You need to place each profession's respective buildings so that the building radius encompasses the resource. Sometimes this means more than one of the same building. To increase storage capacity and to make resources more accessible, you'll need to place depots, and later warehouses, strategically around your town. Inventory in this game is pretty much cloud-based, meaning depots and warehouses access one universal stockpile. This means you don't need to manage which resource is stored where. This is good news for some, and bad news for others. I appreciated this early on in the game, but would have liked to do a little more micromanaging in later stages. As you unlock different types of production, you'll notice that some professions rely on the products of other professions to operate. For example, the pottery shop relies on clay produced by the clay pit. You'll also notice, probably the hard way like I did, that some products are in higher demand, such as coal or firewood, since they're used by multiple production processes, and for heat. According to the devs, 2 things that Patron adds to the city builder formula is an expansive research tree and unique social dynamics. It's true, the research tree has many branches, or maybe leaves. Either way, there's a lot to learn. It doesn't seem ridiculous though, and it's kept me engaged in the game so far. As for social dynamics, it didn't seem to play as big of a role as I thought it would. Basically, your citizens fall under 1 of 4 different classes: peasant, laborer, merchant, or gentry. Each class has different needs and desires. Your job is to balance all of these to keep everyone happy. On top of that, you unlock social policies that you can apply as you progress through the research tree. Not keeping up with what the citizens want will result in riots. Ultimately, your citizens will start to leave. Expansion in this game is pretty easy as long as you have the resources. There isn't any combat or need to build defenses. A little disappointing once you get into the later stages of the game, but still fun. So let's recap. Here are some things that Patron does great, and some things the devs can work on. Pros: replay value. A variety of maps and difficulties give you plenty of reasons to play again. Easy to pick up. Whether you're new to the genre or have been playing since SimCity, this game is easy to learn and relaxing to play. Large research tree. many branches. Cons: underwhelming social dynamics. It doesn't seem to play that big of a role in the game, which is disappointing since it was advertised as one of the key features. Lacking late game challenges. Once you're established, things get pretty easy and can become repetitive. So what do I rank it? On a scale of 0 to RimWorld, this is a great game for a reasonable price. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.